Hello, everyone. Hello, world. Sasha is here in another episode of the interesting podcast named Everything You Wanted to Know About Dogs. You just didn't have whom to ask. And today I'm going to again start with a very interesting topic that aligns pretty much with everything we try to do in Pure Love and Harmony, and what is a kind of a foundation of this wonderful opportunity of us to engage in a beautiful relationship we can develop with our dogs. The major problem we have is a tendency of over-humanizing the dogs and trying to find the solutions where actually solutions are not sustainable. And then down the road, we suffer both in that relationship. The big problem of the humans at the moment and where we live at this time is the over-humanization of the dogs. And over-humanization is actually a death sentence to a dog that achieves and comes even before their death. The way we are engaging with our dogs at a certain, at these days and this time, we are trying to project these human traits to dogs. We are thinking that the dogs are observing the world the way we do. We think that the dogs are thinking the way we do. We are thinking the dogs are perceiving the world the way we do. And all of the mistakes all of the prices we are paying out from that perception are actually this dog's anxiety and human's anxiety that we actually have in this interaction that are kind of like hurting us a lot. Why we cannot distinguish ourselves from the dog, and why do we tend to mirror these human traits to dogs? I wrote about very specifically in my book named About the Dogs and Awakening, where I combined my research and my study and my expertise in a family constellation therapy that I'm carefully studying since 2015. When we interact with the dogs and when I talk to my dog, it's not a question about, am I expecting my dog to reply? Do I want my dog to talk to me like I'm talking to my dog? What I'm talking to actually, and who I'm actually talking to, is a representative that lives in my life, in my system, through my dog. So the question always becomes, who is a dog? That's a very significant question we need to ask ourselves before we try interacting with our dogs and actually hurting them down the road out from pure love that we have towards those animals. And pure love oftentimes leads to destruction. The love is a powerful force. And as much as life can be created by love, the life can be destroyed out from pure love that we tend to overcome someone with. And from that point where we kind of project human traits to our dogs, what actually starts happening is a very huge destruction towards ourselves first, and that mirrors into destruction of our dogs as well. And then all kind of sorts of anxieties and all kind of sorts of physiological failures that are happening after dogs are placed so heavy burden of playing the role of someone that we miss so much in our life that we are not able actually to detach from dogs and then see the dog for who the dogs are, and then embrace whoever comes through the dog in our life so our heart can be feeling fulfilled again as a matter of that time. Where we actually were connected to the whole picture and whole universe, because that's what we tend to do with all of these whatever techniques we are trying, psychotherapies, whatever therapies we are trying to get back to the point of wholeness. And oftentimes through the dogs, we can experience wholeness. But the problem is the dog is not the wholeness. The dog can be a tool in our life to achieve the wholeness through the dog. But it's not the dog. That's very important to distinguish. So, and you can find the book on Amazon, and you can, I guess, purchase it still there. It's Sasha Rees About the Dogs and Awakening, talks very nicely about this phenomena. how did I discover it, and how did I try to find a way of healing myself through my own journey. Because a long time ago, when I was a young little boy, 16 years old, the world was not nice to me. Like neither at home, neither in school, neither in society. I was living my life in a little Serbia, eastern, like a far Balkan country, like European country. And I was just feeling like not welcomed anywhere. And the only reason, and I had a lot of suicidal thoughts as a child, especially in that adolescent time. And the main reason why I didn't commit suicide was my dog. And I said like to myself, like, oh my God, like who gonna take care about my dogs if I'm gone? And that was the reason why I stopped thinking about that. At that moment, when I asked myself the question, who gonna take care about my dog? That was a moment when but then from that moment, I actually dedicated my life to dogs. And I always wanted to kind of find a way to serve them back. The best possible way I could serve the dogs back. I tried different ways. I was trying to be a veterinarian, and I enrolled at veterinarian university. However, after I was starting, on the second year of the veterinarian study, you don't learn about dogs, you learn about every single animal. And especially, that's very nice to learn about animals, but veterinarian science take you through the journey of human exploitation of the animals. So that's what veterinarian science is interesting, how to take care about public health when the human-animal interaction is in place. So in a veterinarian study, it's completely normal that you learn about a way of industrial farming of animals and how the veterinarian science should be applied to the animals that are used in order to produce a human food. So that's where the veterinarian science is actually not considering dog as something that should be deeply understood, because there is no benefit of the humans as there is a benefit from cows or sheep or pigs and things like that. So veterinarians are actually, if you are not on urge of self study, if you wouldn't study your own, and if you don't find yourself studying extra, veterinarian science wouldn't get you a chance to learn and answer the question, who is a dog? Because it's just not the main focus of the veterinarian science experience. Neither that knowledge can be gained through that schooling. On the other hand, zoologists like etiologists or any science, natural science that dives into evaluation of the animals that are wildlife of our existence are actually not interested in the dog as well. They would research a wolf, but they wouldn't research a dog, because the dog is already so much under influence of the human that it's not an interest of the zoologist. You have like here and there someone, but again, in order to become a zoologist and biologist, you get the training of how you should pursue the consciousness of an animal. But how would you, like a wild animal, but the question becomes always, how do you pursue the consciousness of an animal that is so much influenced by the humans? So the dog is left nowhere in this study, and if you do not have any desire to research on your own and to question the mainstream narrative, answering the question, who is a dog, so we can provide the best possible care for them, you will be left with no answers. And then we're gonna try to challenge all of these, questioning all of these things. And are we communicating with our dogs properly? Is the dog wolf, or the dog is some domesticated animal? If it's a domesticated animal, who domesticated it, when and why, and how that happened? And then how that comes that there are the stray dogs in half of the world, like rural places, like in Asia, in South America, you have a lot of places where you still can find dogs organizing themselves in groups that are not packs, because it's more than a family. So it's not a pack of the wolf, it's a group of the dog. But then how that groups interact on its own when it's not influenced by the humans. And on the other side, we have all of these dogs that live so close by humans that their behavior and their physiology and everything is so much impacted by the humans that both species, like humans and dogs, suffers on that path because there is no significant foundation on which this relationship would be built. And then we are left, wimbling here and there, trying our best. And what happens there is entanglement. Emotional entanglement in something that actually is very, very dangerous for human-dog relationship. And with whatever we do, because the human-dog relationship suffers if projections are made. So if I don't have a child, for no matter what reason, not ready, young, I decide, whatever reason, and now I try to be a pet parent. But am I a faithful, am I right pet parent if I become a parent to a dog like it's a human baby? Or I need to develop some knowledge and some trade, some understanding of who is my baby, who is a dog, and how should I communicate with my baby so I respect the dog at the level where the dog is. So, and how the humans are trapped in this middle ground of not knowing how to really interact with the dogs, because we are offered so much commodity and so much fluff that we are lost in a place to choose and to really distinguish what's really needed for the dog-human interaction and what's too much. Do I need to change? Do I need to wear these dresses? Do I need to put my dog on my dog all kind of jewelries? Do I need to take my dog to a parties? Am I taking my dog to a shelter or to a daycare? Am I taking my dog to all of these things that are providing a human consumption of, I think I need this, or I go into the pet shop and immediately I'm overwhelmed either with a great salesperson or with the possibilities to choose from. And then I buy a lot of things that I actually don't need, don't know how to use, or even worse, I'm using it and ruining my relationship by using things I actually don't need. And where all of this is coming from? From this loneliness of ours. The humans and I know myself, like through the life, no matter how great my career was, like amazing. I was traveling the world, caring for the multi-million show dog career. So I was really embraced in this high-end luxurious life on the private jets and the hotels that are, for the people that you signed that NDA that you will never say nothing about. And when you enter the hotel, usually the entire floor is rented, so no one knows who they are. And the kind of like you work with the people that pay you to stay quiet and just do your job. But when you are kind of working for those kind of people, you need to know things that will help you be the best possible performance, like to teach the dog and to perform with the dog on the shows in a way that will provide them constant winning, especially because I couldn't do it, and I never accepted clients, no matter how much money they paid, if the dog was not enjoying the lifestyle of the show dog. So I would always encourage the people, since you already have all of this money that you can invest in someone's career, so you can make this dog travel the world, and me as the show handler over there, you can set us the world. But the question becomes why you do not buy the dog that's actually like, or let's develop the dog that can like to be enjoying the show. And then oftentimes I was able to kind of communicate that with my clients, and they would, send me to the breeders, and I would choose the dogs for them, and then I would, raise their dogs and everything else, and the dogs would love to go to the show. Otherwise, I won't, because they said, I don't know, this is mommy's baby, and he's the best show dog in the world, and I would give all the money on this world just to make him become a champion. I said, yes, but maybe with another handler. I just cannot, because the dog suffers. The dog doesn't want to go to the shows. The dog doesn't enjoy the shows, and I can't help you, no matter how much money you pay. So in that lifestyle of me living with those people and engaging in that high-end, luxurious lifestyle that show dog handling can provide to one, I learned that there is a lot of engagement that happens on the emotional level in between human and dogs. And that's where I started to evaluate this bond that happens in between humans and dogs and hurts them both. The cancer is not something that you just suddenly develop in the nature. It's not like something that wolves or the elephants or any other animals is so much, kind of like exposed to. Yet the dogs are suffering from the cancer a lot. Like the latest study said that 60% of the dogs will develop some sort of the cancer during the lifetime. And that is where the drama starts. If we really believe in that the dogs are conscious animals, and the dogs have a soul, and the dogs have emotions, then how the animal that lives by its instincts, that, as the majority of the scientists would say, that the question is questionable. Are the dogs conscious? It's still questionable. Others would argue that, and they would say, like, it is. The dogs are conscious because they can feel emotions. So if they can feel emotions, mean that they are aware of the world around them and the position they are having and how they affect the environment, and vice versa, how the environment affects them. And if that's something that we are actually, basing our relationship with the dogs, and we say, yes, the dogs are conscious and dogs do have a soul, then how comes that, because, we again can argue, but the questionable of as we advance in our knowing of the body-mind-soul connection, we know that every single disease today can be traced from the flu till the cancer. Every single disease starts first on the level of the soul and then experience itself on the physical level. So every single disease, disease, and that's where we are working when we are working with the family constellation therapy. And every single disease is evaluated and respected from that perspective of the language, as it says, because when you say it slowly, this is, and oftentimes the healing starts when the disease delivers the message, who is? And in the family constellation therapy, we learn that there is a family constellation, and every single family system is a system on its own, and the dog blends into that system. Oftentimes represents something or someone that is excluded, forgotten, forbidden, cursed, because it was a shame for the family. No one wanted to talk about them. No one wanted to mention them. It was something that was a long forgotten story, never repeated again. Especially in America, like while working with the people and experiencing a lot of sufferings of their dogs, oftentimes the only way to move on and to find the next step would be to set up the family constellation therapy that includes the dog as well. And in America, like oftentimes, the people that were coming from the different places of the world, when in early 90s and everything of that, a lot of stories were just cut off. A lot of families forgot. Actually, now generations did not even know. They maybe know where they are coming from, but then the names and the longevity of the family and the family tree, all of that is unknown. And everything that's unknown, brushed under the carpet, forgotten, forbidden, tends to want to be seen. And oftentimes, the only way for something or someone to be seen is to take a representative role of something or someone that lives in the world here and now at this time. And oftentimes, it can be a symptom of some disease. So instead of focusing on the symptom of disease or of the illness, we are looking for what the illness actually do represent. Who or what. But the same way, it can be tracked through the dogs as well. Who or what my dog does represent to me. So I have such a strong bond and connection with dog that I feel like without this dog, I cannot live, I cannot thrive, I cannot move on through my life. And that's something, that's the moment when we actually unwillingly place the burden on the dog, expecting them to be our life saviors and deal with this, whatever this or whoever this is, and just play the role of someone or something. And that's where oftentimes the cancerous diseases are, or the cancer is developed, when we do not live our life purpose. When we do want to reinvent the wheel unconsciously on deep soul level, there is a need for this beginning of the new birth to start again. And that's the way how, the two cells become 4 and 4, 8 on the beginning of the how you say, conception, when that starts. And that's the way how the life starts. From 2 cells, 4, from 4 cells. But that's the same way how the cancer is initiated as well. Let's start again. Let's try again. For no matter what reason, this didn't work. Let's do it again. But all of that is deep unconscious contract that we cannot be conscious about. And then the only way to approach that consciousness, to penetrate the state of the consciousness as I'm thinking, that this is not a judgmental talk at all. This is the possible way to healing, because it is possible way of questioning. And the moment we start questioning, that's the moment when the healing itself initiates. And that's the moment when we can see the next step and the next step and hear the voice and go there and find this and finally got healing. That's nothing else than seeing the truth for whatever the truth is. This is, on its own, is a healing of the illness. And the same way, how we can approach our dogs, it's the way to ask, who lives or what lives through you? And in my book, on the end of the book, you have a little questionnaire that you're going to take yourself through. And you're going to try asking yourself the question, because you will see always the dog comes in our life. The dog always comes in our life oftentimes on a very important time-changing, like a life-changing events. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are bad. Maybe they are good ones. And oftentimes, that way of self-sabotaging us is kind of like, I'll need someone or something to support me through this journey. Or immediately after, or immediately, or just before some unexpected bad event happened to us, so we were not left alone. And how the dogs came in our life, and why especially this dog came in our life. It's always a possibility to ask, logical, like linear, just, I got it as a present. Mom gave me. I find him in a shelter. I find him on a street, or whatever the reason on a logical level would be. This is a dog because. What we need to go after is that deep, uncovered and undiscovered reason of why did I made this soul contract. And why did I engage with something or someone that's represented by this beautiful creature that lives in my life now. And then when that's discovered, then that's just the beginning of when the real healing initiates. And the healing actually comes through embracing whatever comes with the dog in our life. But it's very important to understand it's not the dog itself. It's something through the dog. And while I'm talking to you now, since this is a very interesting topic, and I was getting a lot of buzz and emails because I was just talking little about this last time, and I got a lot of questions. So I said, okay, let's do another show on this topic as well, because there is this soul contract that exists on every single path and every single motion we do. We feel like we are driven there, like some magnet is pulling us towards something. That always becomes that those two things, we can be pulled just towards two things, towards life or towards death. Every single decision takes me closer to one, either embracing and living the life in its fullness, or takes me closer to that. With every single piece of the food, with every single thought, with every single motion, with every single interaction, every single decision I make takes me closer to life or closer to death. We can kind of like, we don't need to die in order to be dead. we can zombie through this life, tiptoeing to try to make it safely to the death, so we don't be hurt, we don't hurt others, we want to be right, we want to be perfect, we want to be good to everyone, and suddenly the life ends. And the dogs are there for us to give us a chance to get awakened. That's why the book called About the Dogs and Awakening. And it's a very important part of why we cannot develop a right way. I teach people on a Doggy Mom Academy, you have like simple tools, like 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to do. How you feed your dog, how you communicate with your dog properly, and how do you respect the dog for who the dog is. And we find this why the Pure Love and Harmony is different, and I developed this Pure Love and Harmony Institute that actually gives a lot of new knowledge to understanding a human-dog interaction and relationship. And everything that we do, everything that we study, everything that we teach, every product that we make is produced with this affirmation that we do know who and what the dog actually is. So when If you want to download the manual, you have it in the link in the description of this profile on Instagram, and maybe Vedran can just post the link on the YouTube, so you can download, and then you can see, because there is. Can you just perform a simple task? Ask yourself, and then you will know, are you emotionally entangled with your dog? Can you just try to, live with your dog in silence for 1 week? Without talking to them, but everything that you want to talk to them, you can think about, and you can try to communicate it with them by your actions, by your body language. Try to navigate and lead your dogs to the position that they will do what you want, just without you telling them that. Because when we start using a human language to talk to our dogs, then we are thinking that they're understanding the words that we are talking to them. What the dogs are actually understanding are already intention that produces the words. And when we talk to our dogs, it's already on the level of our energetical entanglement. We already spoken to the dog. We already said everything we wanted to say to the dog, only with the intention to tell them. So when I said to my dog, sit, or sedi, or uile, or sit, or whichever, how you tell it on German, sits, or sets, or platz, or whatever you say, no matter on which language you are using the words to communicate with the dog, intention is the same. Intention is universal. The words we use to communicate, those will separate the languages. But the dogs are connected with us on energetical level, and we don't need to use the words in order to get from them what we want. Just the question becomes how clearly we can think, and how consciously we can think, and how consciously we can behave, so there is no miscommunication in between us and the dogs. And then you can really see how much we cannot perform, and not even a week of not talking to our dogs, because we got entangled with them so much. And probably you're going to already start feeling uncomfortable, and what the heck I'm talking to you, and who is this guy, and why is he, telling me all of these things? I know that my dog understands me. All of those things will logically come to your mind. But try just to hear them, try to feel them, try to feel all uncomfortableness that these words might bring to your body, and just stay with that body, stay with that feeling for a while. Just embrace it. Breathe in that part of the body that feel uncomfortable or challenge, or that brings anger or brings anxiety. Whatever emotion comes when you hear me talking to you and asking you not to talk and communicate with your dog, at least for a week, using words, but then use every other tool that you have. Call it a sixth sense, call it a thoughts, call it a connection to your dog, that we all know we are connected with our dogs. Use all of those senses and try to see, will you be able to perform that relationship, at least for a week. And when you see that's so difficult to do, and then we have to tendency to always talk to our dogs, to always talk to them something, to always communicate with them using words of humans, then you need to ask yourself who or to what through your dog you are communicating actually with. And where all of these blessings and hugging and support and wonderfulness is coming from, and from who. And then join me next week on this journey as well. It will be like around 7 Eastern time. And I'm going to take you through the next part of this meditation, because for that already you need to be prepared. So if you will be able to challenge yourself and try to evaluate your relationship with your dog and try to challenge it, try to take it to a next level and try to take it to a place where actually it does belong. It's a place of unity, it's a place of diversity, but also it's a place of interconnectedness, where actually we are with the dog, through the dog, connected with something greater that's very healing, inspiring, and important for our journey. And in order for dogs to develop and deliver that message, so they don't try to relive their life again. Because oftentimes we can find all kind of logical explanation and reasons why someone got sick for no matter what reason. And let's say now dog, why my dog got any kind, and now it's the food, it's an environment that we all live in, it's this that triggers it, that's right. And all of those logical excuses are on the plate. Yes, that's true, and it can be true, and it always contributes, but also you have a lot of dogs that lives in same environment, eat same food, have all kind of same triggers might be there, that there are same triggers, yet do not develop the same illnesses. So where is this diversity of which body collapses and which body doesn't collapses on the same circumstances are hidden on the soul level of the contracts of energetical entanglement, and something that we cannot comprehend with the senses that we know. We need to dive in deep into our hearts and find the answers to all of those unhidden messages that our dogs are trying to deliver to us through their behavior, because they do not have any other, and oftentimes illnesses as well. Because oftentimes they take on illnesses so they can prevent us from getting them. So, but in all, will we be preventing from getting? Yes, we will. And oftentimes you see all of these miracle healings are happening all over the world since the Jesus time, or since all kind of prophets are going around this world. But you don't need to have a prophet to see yourself that the God can heal you if the message is delivered. And a lot of times you can ask yourself every single time, even if you sneeze and if you have something like a flu or cold or something like that, look at the big picture and see what's the message coming with it. Soon the message is delivered. The illness just vanishes like it was never there. The healing happens almost overnight. And everyone that can interact on that level of soul, body interaction is actually helping itself create a better place for themselves and for the world around us. And that's where the dogs are actually catalysts. The dogs are big teachers. The dogs are very important, integral part of mankind growth and evolution. The question becomes like, will we use it to our advantage, or are we going to take it against us? Because we do feel perfect in a moment of loving the dogs, no matter how terrible it's going to create for them in time to come. But that's not different, because I know how unhealthy I can eat. And I know how unhealthy behavior I can perform on a daily level, knowing which kind of price is coming as a consequence of those choices. And I'll still do it. That's sort of the self-destruction that has a root cause in deeply hidden soul wounds that are nothing heavy. You know, you shouldn't eat this and eat that and carbs and whatever. And yet somehow, for no matter what reason, we always choose to do it. And am I indulging in all of this overeating and over-sexing and over-drinking and over-smoking and over-drugging? Everything of that is a wonderful way of experiencing and, finding a balance in a life that it's a life, it's a choice, I can do it, but is it controlling me? That's the hardest part to answer. Or I'm controlling it. And when it comes to our dogs, that's the problem, because I can be self-destructive and I can do to myself the hell I want and pay the price whatever I want. But when someone is so relying on me, when I promise to the dog that I'm going to take care about them till the end of their life, am I doing the right way? Am I doing everything I can? Or I'm actually sacrificing them so I don't need to sacrifice myself with my choices and decisions? And that's what actually oftentimes responsibility arises from, only putting these things in place. Because there is a simple way how we should treat our dogs, how we should communicate with our dogs. Everything is written in a manual I wrote, and it's free of charge. You can download it and try to implement and see the changes that brings to the relationship of the human and dogs almost overnight. But then, more often I hear from the people, I know what I need to do, but I just can't. I cannot tell them. I cannot go out from I cannot reunite and come back from my work. I cannot leave them at home for so long. I need to take them to a daycare. And with every single that, I actually know I'm hurting my dog, but I cannot help myself. It's something greater than I is forcing me to do so. And that's when the awakening starts. That's when the questioning, all of this starts. And then when the healing actually starts, when you get a full runway to take off to whatever direction of the life you want, using your dog as a tool to reach whatever is missing so we can achieve healing, but not abusing the dog and then being emotionally abusing the dog, because we find all sorts of excuses and all sorts of unwilling wants to pursue the right path in a human-dog interaction and relationship. So try to do this little exercise that I suggested you to do, and then regroup next time at 7 p.m. Thursday, maybe a couple of minutes before or later. I'll join you live on both platforms like YouTube or Instagram, and I'm going to guide you through the next part of this meditation. But in order to get ready for that, I encourage you to start. Not that the others won't be able to do it because they might join us live without seeing the first part, but I'm gonna ask ones that were on this show as well to do something else. Other ones can follow it, but I also tell what might be a what might happen if you didn't do a first part of the exercise, and both of that is okay. And it's kind of like very interesting to see how we slowly separate with our dogs emotionally, but then get connected with them on completely different level that brings more unity, more respect, and more harmonious life with them than we ever imagined. The life the Pure Love and Harmony takes you on with all of these tools that we produce, no matter are they products, are they services, are there educational materials, whatever we do in order to serve the relationship of the mankind with the dogs next to each other in a life of pure love and harmony. And that's the foundation of the Pure Love and Harmony is pure respect. And I respect you the way you are. You don't need to change for me to love you. You are great as you are. The moment you are able to say that to some other species like a dog is, I don't need to love you for the better of you, because I can love you with no you. I can love you for who you are. And then when you are saying that to someone that loves you so much, then the burden of them needing to sacrifice for our life disappears from them. And them are getting such a strong sense of life. As well, we are regaining our strength of life that was left somewhere else to someone else to hold it for us until the time doesn't come. And I ensure the time is now. So wish you all the wonderful week ahead and wonderful blessings with once you live and love. And let's regroup next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the next stage of this beautiful journey. Love you so much. Goodbye.